Hello everybody and welcome into the Casa on the Rancho here, and I'm sitting in front of the fabled wall of sound, what I believe to be one of the finest collections of vintage stereo receivers and amplifiers from the golden age of audio, the 1950s through the 1970s on all of the West Coast. And I'm very proud of all of the years that it took to assemble this collection, and I'm also very proud to have had Missy Jen help me when we put together this fantastic structure to support all of these wonderful vintage audio pieces. Some of them, the Model 9 GX Kenwood weighs 70 pounds. There are some very big units on there. And if you're interested in seeing the playlist of how this was made, it's down in the projects part, vintage audio projects part, building my dream wall of sound. And a couple months later we went back, got under the house and put some jacks underneath of it to give further support for all of the weight that is held on these shelves. It was quite a project. And I think it really is a wowzer when people come in the house and they see that, because a lot of people, especially young people, don't even know what audio gear was like in the 50s, 60s, 70s. All they know is the black plastic units that they see in places like Best Buy today. This is what I want to talk about. A lot of people ask me about buying vintage audio gear, vintage stereo, or Harman Kardon, or Fisher receivers, and whether it's a good idea or not. And I would say to them, yes it is, and I'll give you for the following reasons. You look at these units on either side of me. These are JBL L77s. These are the legendary James B. Lansing speakers, fabricated in Los Angeles, California, probably in the early 1960s. With the finest in craftsmanship and quality that today makes JBL some of the most collectible speakers in the world. Now when I think to myself, and you think to yourself, when I need a pair of speakers, a lot of times you might think to yourself, oh, I better just go out and get the best things that money can buy. And you go out and you buy high production speakers, and no matter what today, they do not hold their value. But if you're lucky enough to score a JBL set, or find one reasonably priced for $300, $400. We were very lucky to score these on a tip for just a fraction of their true value. Then you have something that not only holds its value, as vintage audio gear does, but it has a cult following to it, and is probably going to continue to increase in value, especially as so much of this American-made product, the Fishers, etc., move out to Japan, where they really appreciate golden age audio. What often happens is you wonder why the collectability goes up. A lot of this material is lost year in and year out. There's fires in storage units and floods. There's cases of destruction where something happens, earthquake, and a lot of stuff is lost. In other cases, families, maybe dad collected, grandpa collected great audio gear, but young generations don't know. They just see something that looks like a speaker, but they don't know what it is, and they put it out on a yard sale. The next thing, it ends up in a college dormitory. The next thing, it ends up in a dumpster, tragically. So the universe of collectible material shrinks every year. This is why I think vintage audio is such a great thing to have. And the sound reproduction of these JBLs is every bit as good as any speaker that you will find on the market today. The tweeters, the high frequency part of these units, is legendary for getting those high notes in that are so hard to get on most speaker sets. As far as the vintage audio gear, stereo amplifiers, stereo receivers, and amplifiers, you take something like the Sony, the ST604V, which is our workhorse for listening. When Jen's watching movies or we're watching TV, sporting events, we click on the Sony, and it's the unit for broadcasting our sound out of the television. Well, a unit like that today could be had for about $100. And the sound reproduction quality is every bit as good as what you get today, and is better made. It has the finest in components from that era, components that will stand the test of dozens and dozens more years of use, because quality was foremost. Elna capacitors, all types of top-of-the-line material went into them. What goes into the black boxes today that look so junky and so flimsy? Cheap Chinese circuit boards with no value components to them that burn out after about a year or two. Now beyond that, when we're talking about sound quality comes through, and remember, it's one thing to have sound recorded in a studio, it's another thing to have sound come out in your speakers, and boy, it is a big journey between the recording studios and what comes out of here, and so much is lost. So much is lost because the design of stereo amplifier receivers is such that frequencies are cut off, and then frequencies are cut off in the music with compression. And that's the real sadness of today. But a unit like this Sony ST604V will faithfully produce 99.9% of what goes into with minimal less than 1/100th of 1% distortion, which is absolutely amazing. And that's what gives real fidelity quality, the distortion and the frequencies that are carried in. Lastly, look at the beauty of these units. Walk into your Best Buy store and go look at stereo amplifiers, stereo receivers. They're all black. They all have the blue phosphorescence, and they're indistinguishable. Do you really think that anybody in 30, 40, 50 years will ever want to collect something like that? Whereas the collectability of these will be assured, because not only do they have the fidelity, the build quality, some of these even have walnut cases, solid walnut cases, representing the truest in American and Japanese quality build, but they look absolutely gorgeous. Who's not adored the beautiful blue of a Marantz unit when you turn it on? Or the striking green face of the Harman Kardon Twin Power with its beautiful red pointer dial on there. These things are works of art. And as such, their collectability is assured. This is why I think you should put your money into things that increase in value and don't end up in landfills, contributing further to problems on planet Earth. You'll have a visually stunning looking piece, you'll have a conversation piece, and you'll have something that you're proud to own that looks absolutely beautiful and it sounds gorgeous. This is why I put my money into vintage audio gear. I want to thank you all for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the share button. And I would love to see your comments below, and I hope that you are subscribed. See you on a future audio video where we'll be talking about today's sound and how we're starting to lose stereo altogether. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.